recording for this group chat. So we're going to do this group chat differently because we only got 4 people on here. So this group chat, we got Robert. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes. We got Robert on this group chat. So we got 5 people so far. 5 people. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, there's no need to take time off because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking time off, right? Especially when you're hitting your numbers. But I'm thinking food's not free still. Gas station isn't giving out free food. The massage place isn't giving out free massages. So just kind of makes sense that I got to go pick up phones to finance all the good things. The movies, if I go to the movies later, they're not giving out free movies. So this is what we're going to do. Let's do this a little bit differently. What I want to do, I had a nice little presentation plan, but because it's only 5 of us, there's no need to do all that. Let me go ahead and just answer your guys' questions. So why don't you guys let me know in the chat what questions you have for me, specific questions, what things would you like me to answer, what things would you like me to talk about, what things would you like me to look at, and we'll just kind of make it more of a personal group chat because we only got a few people on here. And then because of that, we might end it a little bit early because we don't have the usual 20 to 25 people on here. Let's see. Sam says, that's very good. That is very good. That's very good. Well, Sam, you know, with that 390 in profit, I'm sure you can eat pretty much whatever you want to eat now at this point in time. So let's see, who else just hopped on? Dave Kennedy. So what we're doing, unless a few more people hop on, and I was just going to answer people's questions because we only have a few people. So let me know in the comments what specific questions do you have, what things would you like me to look at, what things would you like me to address. Basically, what can I do to kind of help you guys out and answer any questions? Yeah, absolutely. I'll close these chats down. Sam wants me to go ahead and look at one of his posts. Archie wants me to talk about outsourcing marketing tasks. Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. So let's look at Sam's post. So, also my vehicle moment coming by anytime soon. I like that. Anytime soon. Maybe later. Okay, cool. What time works for you? Around 7. So this is very good. You see what Sam's doing. He's leading by asking questions. That's very good. He's controlling the conversation, which is very, very, very good. Oh, yeah, I like to hit that button right there. What time? Around 7. By the way, I buy and sell for a living, so I have to create a bill of sale for my business. Will you have your driver's license on you? Worded that perfectly. That don't sound right, honestly, my ID. Apple's already government watch phone, and you can't have my ID without getting one regardless. If any company, I don't know if you're a hacker or anything, sorry. So there is this powerful thing in sales called Feel, Felt, Found. It's a just like a standard kind of selling technique that every salesperson should know, but most salespeople don't know. So it's called Feel, Felt, Found. So it goes something like this. I understand how you feel. So let's say if I'm selling a car, right? So I'm going to go ahead and sell a car to, we're going to go ahead and sell a car to Archie. So I say, Archie, buddy, I understand. And Archie says the price is too much. I understand how you feel. I have worked with lots of customers in the past that have felt the same way. But what they found was with the value they are getting from the car, how the payments come out to only $18 a day, and how there's a very good chance let's see, Now there's a very good chance the car will last 8 to 10 years and go well over 100K in miles. The price is very reasonable. So with that said, would you like to pay cash or are we financing? So let me go ahead and make a point right here, guys. And then we're going to go ahead and answer Sam's specific question. So sometimes people bitch about stuff. People like to complain about stuff. A lot of people actually like to complain about stuff because they feel important. They get attention. Probably jump on your Facebook and you'll see people making Facebook statuses bitching about stuff because they get to feel loved. They get to feel important. They get to be someone. A lot of people actually subconsciously don't want to win because then they get to bitch and complain and moan about their life situation, and people get to say, oh, we feel sorry for you, blah, 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 blah. That's one of the reasons, guys, just as like a side note, you'll never see me really complain about stuff because I don't want to get attention for losing. I lose all the time. I had a guy open up that full refund request through his bank. I had a guy flake on me recently. I get fucking issues all the time. I just don't bitch about it because I don't want to give any attention to it. I don't want to give any energy to it. And I pretty much know how to solve my own problems at this point. So I don't do that. But a lot of people you'll see will complain about stuff. So it's not to now, us guys, we're more of an enlightened group. We're more proactive than the average person. We take more responsibility for ourselves. We're more proactive. But the average individual that's not like wanting to, well, everyone wants to improve their life, but no one wants to do anything about it. No one actually wants to put in the work because it's painful and it takes effort. So the average person is not really like us. So the average person, guys, for the most part, they like to complain about stuff. So sometimes you'll get people and they'll just bitch about stuff. They'll just complain about stuff. And when they do that, you can actually, it's called going over the objection, as Grant Cardone calls it, where you don't even have to address it. You can just move forward. You guys see this response right here? This response just kind of moved forward and went over the objection. And you'll see me do this. There was a conversation where the girl, she was complaining how I offered her like $530 for the iPad. And she goes, well, my rent's $600. And I was like, well, no worries. Just put the $530 down for rent, and you'll be pretty much good to go. And she goes, LOL, okay, when would you like to meet? So I didn't even address that. You guys see that? Because that wasn't even really a complaint. That wasn't a hard objection. That was just her kind of complaining about something. And I posted that screenshot on my wall. I posted it on my wall. It was a couple months ago. Some of you guys might have seen it on there. So I went around the objection. So sometimes it's good to kind of feel it out. Sometimes people just complain about stuff, but sometimes they have a hard objection. Now, what Sam's guide, this is a hard objection. So we can't go around this. We have to address this. However, what we can do is we can use parts of the feel, felt, found. So what Sam said is Sam says, no, I'm not a hacker. I run a legitimate business, and as such, the government requires me to provide that for my items, that my items aren't stolen, paid for taxes, just like a pawn shop. So what I feel here, Sam, is I feel like you got fairly aggressive here. No, I'm not a hacker. No, I'm not a hacker. Let me know in the chat what Sam could have said that would have been a little bit softer, a little bit more customer friendly. Because as we know, the last thing we want to do is start arguing with the customers and, start to create any tension. Especially if the guy has a little legitimate concern, we want to address it. Now, you will find that when they have a concern about the ID, sometimes you can't close that deal, but sometimes you can communicate with them in an empathetic, I understand how you feel sort of way, and you can ease their tension and they'll meet up with you. Because when you've gotten this far in the deal, the guy wants to do business with you. You guys have already agreed on price. When you've already agreed on price and he's accepted the price and you're working out the time and the place, they're fairly invested in the conversation. It's not like they just reached out to you, and when they just reached out to you, they, their investment level is very small. The more you go through the RWOCM, the further you get through that process, the more invested the customer becomes because they're getting excited. They finally sold their phone at the price that they're willing to accept. They're getting cash the same day. So they actually have an excitement and there's momentum that's moving them forward. So they want to do the deal with you at this point. Again, we're not going to close all the deals, but we can close. We can say the right words to close some of them. No, I'm not a hacker. I run a legitimate, so I don't like that. No, I'm not a hacker. Provides that my items aren't stolen. Well, see, I don't really like that because it's like it's bringing up. It's kind of like you implying that they might be stealing the item. If someone said that to me, I wouldn't like that. So we want to say something a little bit softer. Let's see what Robert said. There it is, absolutely. And we're gonna pull up a couple examples here in a sec. I totally understand. I completely understand. And I have lots of customers that have met up with me that have felt the same way. However, because it's required for my business for tax purposes, I do have to get an ID. Would that be okay with you? So you guys see how this is a little bit softer, and we're not bringing up anything that has to do with stolen. I completely understand, and I have a lot of customers I met up that have met up with me that have felt the same way. This also is so what this is also implying something kind of strong. People like to go where the crowds go. You know, if I walk outside and all the neighbors are looking up at the sky, I'm gonna look up at the sky because I want to see what's going on. So it's the herd mentality. This implies that other customers have felt the way this customer has felt. However, they have found that it's not that big of a deal to bring up the ID as they make it. You guys see that? So this is like, ooh, this is like a thing right here. However, because it's required for my business, now we do have to be kind of stern because there are certain things we have to do, right? We're only going to meet them in a public place. We understand that they want us to come to their house. However, I'll sometimes say that my boss requires me to meet at a public place, like if they want me to come to their house. So I'll use the same thing with objections like that. We got to meet inside of the public place. I use the same thing, of course, for the bill of sale. And I think there's another situation I use it for as well. However, because it's required for my business and for tax purposes, I do have to get an ID. Would that be okay with you? Putting them in charge, right? Now, again, this isn't going to work all the time, 100% of the time, but this can a lot of times soften things. I've had multiple times where I go back and forth with them a little bit, and they don't have an issue with it. The other thing is if you see some of my text conversations, when you get better at message negotiation, you will have this less and less. I've done some of my message negotiations recently, and you guys remember on that group chat, it was like a week or two ago, I closed the person on the phone, and they didn't hesitate with the bill of sale. Why is that? Because when I'm talking and communicating like a professional, and I'm saying all the right words in the exact order, and I'm treating them, I'm calibrating the levels correctly, and I'm moving forward and using soft phrases, and I'm micro-stepping, and all the other things we talk about, they get the feeling like they're dealing with a professional. So then when I bring up the bill of sale, it's just easier for them to accept. However, if you're saying the wrong shit, if you're not micro-calibrating and all those other things, you will, in the beginning, have more ID issues. Same thing with flakes. Even though I'm about to say this, I did get a flake, right? I got a flake like 2 weeks ago. But I used to get flakes all the time. I would get flakes a couple times a month. I would say 2 to 3 times a month. And I sometimes have now like 4 to 6 months in a row where I don't get flakes. And if they do flake, I can meet up with them. Why? Because it goes back to the same thing. The better you get at negotiating, you're just able to lock it down. Now, with that said, in the beginning, everyone's going to get a fair amount of flakes. You're going to have more people that turn down the bill of sale, and you're just going to lose more message negotiations in the beginning because, well, as you guys might have heard me say a couple times, everyone sucks at message negotiation in the beginning, right? But as you go through it, as you go through the training, as you get pissed off when customers tell you no, and that forces you to go into the back office and rewatch some of the videos or watch some of the new videos, there's like over 40 line-by-line message negotiation breakdowns. You pick up little things, you'll get a little bit better in each little aspect, and everything will kind of come around and be easier. So does this make sense so far? All right, fantastic. I've never done an electronic bill of sale. I use David's bill of sale for this day. I use his bill of sale. I keep it in a big box. And then at the end of the year, I hand it off to the tax person to add up everything. I guess there's nothing wrong with an electronic bill of sale, but I just do a bill of sale that's physical, and I'll use anyone's ID. So some people don't have their ID, and I'll use their friend's ID. I met up with this lady to buy it was a cracked S6, it was an LG phone, cracked screen, and she didn't have her ID on her. She had her daughter use her ID. And it almost sounded kind of shady because, like, she said she was going to have her ID, but then she had her daughter have her ID. And then she, like, thanked her daughter or whoever was driving. So, like, in that situation, I said, now, just so you know, when you sign this, this says that you have the right to sell me the phone. And she signed. There wasn't iCloud locked or anything, but, you know, I get nervous with stuff like that because I don't want the police coming knocking on my door. And if they do, I want to have all my shit together. There was a guy in, I think he was in VIP. And he bought like a laptop, and like a few hours later, the police came knocking because they were somehow able to track the laptop. And I think he had to give up the laptop, but he had the bill of sale to show proof that he bought the item. So, you know, it wasn't on him. He probably would have gotten in trouble because there wouldn't have been any proof. And all the cop would have seen was, well, you're telling me this, but all I see is you have the stolen laptop in your place. So that's how that works, and that's how we would do that. So that's a couple tips, Sam, and those will help you. And then RJ posted a couple good things. Let's see. Would you be able to anyone? He says, gotcha. So those are RJ posted. I like what RJ said too. Well, he kind of backed off from it. You don't want to back off from it, right? An objection is an objection. So you know what? You want to address it, right? If they tell you no on the price, you're going to address that and not leave. If they tell you no from coming to their house, you want to address that and not exit the conversation. And if they tell you no for the bill of sale, then you want to address that as well because it's just an objection. So that's what we got for that. So hopefully that helped you guys out, and hopefully that kind of provided some value to you, Sam. And I'm sure there's other people that we haven't talked about that in a while, so I'm sure there's some other people that got value from that. Now, with that said, we got some people on this group chat. So because of that, let's go ahead and get back to the regular scheduled program. Tom, Taylor, Sam, Ryan, what's up? Ryan, Robert, Edward, David, Kennedy, Darren, Dan, Arthur. Oh, we got a couple Archies on there. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is how to get lots of repeat business. Because someone asked that on Monday, and that got a lot of likes. So that's something you guys would like to go over. I've developed a strategy now for getting lots of repeat business. And to be honest, like half the phones I get now are repeat business. And I fucking love repeat business. I'm always hunting. And closing new deals and meeting up with new people. But it's nice when you know that you can like meet up with someone and then they bring you another phone. And then they bring you their sister's phone. And then they bring you their laptop. And then 3 months later, they bring you the Apple Watch that they bought, that they used for a couple months, and they don't use anymore. It's like a very, 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 very beautiful thing. Now, in the beginning, where are we at? In the beginning, oh my gosh, Tom shaved. Tom, didn't you have a beard before? Shit, Tom shaved. I don't even know who that man is anymore. All right, let me get back on track. No, I'm just kidding. Tom, you look good, you know. I'm kind of about the clean cut life myself. So In the beginning, I used to not get repeat business. And I'm hopping on these, I'm listening to David Kosciuszko. David Kosciuszko talks about how it's nice to get repeat business. And I'm like, I would just love repeat business. That sounds like free fucking money. I would love to just meet up with someone. They know you, they trust you, they have a good relationship with you, and you can just buy their phone again and buy more phones that they have. So I wasn't getting any repeat business. And then it was like a month and a half, and this is like when I'm doing like $20,000 plus a month, right? So I'm not like doing small numbers. I'm doing like big numbers, not getting repeat business. But then I started to get repeat business. And then I started to get more repeat business. And then I'm like, this is kind of nice. Because one of the benefits of getting repeat business is the customer knows you. The customer trusts you. So sometimes you can make lower ball offers. Now, a lot of times you're going to have to negotiate, but sometimes you don't have to. And the big benefit is a lot of these people are more, they want to work with you more. They're more likely to stay at level 1 than a brand new person because they know you, they trust you. You got to remember, when the customer is going to meet up with you, the first time they're fucking nervous. They think you're going to steal their phone. They think you're not going to show up. They think you're a scam. Just like when we go meet up with customers, you guys know how we feel that same way? We're afraid they're not going to show up. I used to get so nervous going to meet up with customers, I would have to get there early and I'd run to the bathroom and make diarrhea. No bullshit. Because I'm driving to them to pay them $65 for their phone, and I'm like shaking in the car. So I had the same feelings. Now I'll do like, I've done $10,000 cash transactions before, and I don't even fucking feel anything because, as you guys know, the longer you stay in this business, everything gets easier. But in the beginning, I'm all nervous, right? So we know the customer's nervous too. They meet you. They see you're a normal person, especially when you follow the 4 steps to getting repeat business. They're more likely to contact you, and it's just great. And the other benefit is sometimes you'll meet these people, and they'll bring you the same phone over and over again, and you guys have already agreed on price, so there's nothing to negotiate. This one guy, we agreed on price for Maxes. He was a brand new guy. I did the 4 steps. I'm going to share with you guys here. And then he brought me some 2 Maxes the next day. 2 Maxes the next day. Haven't heard from him for 2 weeks. And then the other day he hit me up and had 2 more Maxes. And because we already agreed on price, there wasn't any negotiating. And he already knew the drill. He knew we were going to meet up. He knew I'm going to hold the phones in my hand and run all the shit. He knows everything. He knows I'm going to do the bill of sale. He knows I'm going to handle the phones before I give him cash. While I'm meeting him at the same spot. So it's like, oh, you got 2 more phones? Sounds good. When would you like to meet? And it's a great thing, right? It's a great thing. So, and you guys will experience this as well. So let me go ahead and go over, there's 4 steps to doing repeat business. And this took me about 1.5 years to discover. But now that I do this, guys, it's very common for me to get repeat business. I get repeat business from old customers, and I have a high tendency of whenever I close a new deal, whether it can be old, used phones, new phones, whatever it is, it's very uncommon for me to close like 5 or 6 people that are new leads without having like at least one of them hit me up, sometimes multiple times. It's really good. It's really, really good. So let's go over the 4-part process for getting repeat business. Let me go and share it with you. Let's see. So the 4 steps to getting repeat business. Step number 1, guys. Oh, you guys might not want to hear this. You guys might not want to hear this. Is really good negotiating. Really good negotiating. Why is really good negotiating so important? So really good negotiating is so important because the customer doesn't know you. Customer doesn't know you. The customer doesn't trust you. And the customer is judging you. Now, let me kind of prove this to you. Does anyone, you're like, Aaron, the customer is judging me. Does anyone here judge their customer? Does anyone here, when you're negotiating with a lead, look at their profile pic, see if they look shady, look at their Letgo, and maybe you feel more comfortable if they got a completed Letgo account with maybe a couple reviews and a nice picture compared to the person that's got no picture or they got 2 guns and their grill is falling off and, you know, they're pulling their pants behind them in the wheelbarrow Does anyone have different opinions from this at all, right? So, so because they're, and then does anyone here judge the customer by how they're talking? Does anyone here feel more comfortable if the customer's like, good afternoon, I was inquiring about your ad, I have an A+, compared to the person that says, I got a A+, how much you gonna do for it, or something like that? Does anyone here judge the customer? So I got a bunch of yeses from everyone here. And that's what we do. We're humans. We kind of judge people, right? Some of you guys probably judge me. Maybe I, do a good group chat and you're like, oh, I love fucking Aaron's group chat. And then maybe you post, and then maybe the next day you post 3 things and tag me in it in the Facebook group and I don't answer any of your shit. And then you're like, I don't really like that Aaron Goldstein, right? I could see people doing that. No one's told me that before, but I could see people having that. And then I post a lot of value or redo next level and you're like, actually, you know what? I kind of like Aaron now. Aaron's on my good side for now, right? So everyone is always judging people. So when you're negotiating, they don't have anything to go off of but how you're communicating with them. So the step number 1 is to have good negotiating. It's to be doing the stuff we talk about, doing the micro steps, doing lines of intent when it's needed, doing moving them through the process, leading by asking questions, and doing all the other things, taking charge of the interaction. It's there, and 1 or 2 little things can mess this up, right? If you say some weird shit or you say some weird things that could trigger them, that could completely change the conversation. It doesn't matter that you've had, 10 lines back and forth. If you say one little thing that's off, they could get a weird feeling for you. Just like when I'm dealing with a customer and everything goes good, and they're like, well, I get off work at 10 and I don't have a car, so meet me at my house. That one little line makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't leave the conversation. I suggest, no worries, I totally understand. I'm happy to meet you. However, is there somewhere public by your house we could meet at? Is there maybe somewhere at work, near your work, that we could meet at? Because my boss requires me to meet in the public place. That's like, I use that excuse a lot, actually, when I'm dealing with a public place objection. So number 1 is good negotiating. Of course, guys, as we just talked about, this will get better with time. The better you get at negotiating, they feel like they're dealing with a professional. That's why I can show up in the wintertime wearing tank tops, basketball shorts, flip-flops, and a trench coat, and it's 10 degrees outside, and maybe I showered today, maybe I showered last week, who fucking knows? But because I have all my fucking shit together when it comes to negotiating, I give a very strong vibe as a professional. So I don't really look like a professional, but the way I'm communicating in every fucking sense, and the way I'm communicating with them, the way I show up on time and we do the stuff we're going to talk about in the other levels, they get a sense that, all right, this guy's kind of weird, maybe he smells kind of funny, whatever, I don't really care, but he's a professional. This guy has his act together. So number 1 is being really good at negotiating. Number 2 is, it's called have your act together. Now, does anyone know what have your act together means? If you do, let me know in the chat. There's a few things that having your act together means, and I've talked about this briefly, and it was somewhere else. There's somewhere else. So if anyone knows, oh, damn, all right, Tom. Okay, Tom. Tom without the beard is giving me the breakdown now. Let's see. So, thank you very much. So, step number 2 has a bunch of things. So, one of them is show up on time. Imagine you're the customer. I say I'm going to be there at 10 o'clock. All right, let's say make it a little earlier. I'm going to be there at 4:30. And I don't show up until 4:45, so I show up 15 minutes late. If you're the customer, how are you going to judge me? How professional do I sound when we agreed to be there at 4:30 and I don't show up till 4:45 because, oh, there was traffic that I didn't plan, I had to run out and do this, blah, 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 blah. It's going to piss them off. And if you don't believe me, has anyone here ever gone to a restaurant and maybe you don't get greeted by the hostess or the server for like just 30 seconds or a minute? No one greets you at the restaurant for 30 seconds to a minute and you get a little agitated. You want someone to acknowledge you. Does that happen? It happens to me, right? I'm a human. I get emotions. I get pissed off. I get excited. I'm not, I'm the same as you guys are. So how do you think the customer feels when you show up 10 to 15 minutes late and they got other shit to do? They don't want to wait there they got other shit to do. So number one, it's very important you show up on time. I plan this very well. I make it a very big habit of mine to show up on time. Now, I might be a minute or two late, right? If it's 2:30, it might be 2:31, 2:32, but it's very rare like 2:35 or 2:40, right? It's very rare like that. I'm okay with them being a few minutes late. I want to put my best foot forward, and I want to show up on time so they know that I'm serious. Also, the other big benefit is if they're a few minutes away and you're like, all right, you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm parked in the front in the black Hyundai Elantra, and I'm wearing a gray shirt. I never say tank top because I'm afraid they're going to judge me. So I say, I'm wearing a gray shirt. I try to make myself sound more professional. They get the feeling, how are they interpreting it? This guy's a professional. His negotiating was good. He's there exactly when he said. He's parked in the front, right? Whenever someone tells me they're parked by like they're parked in the corner by like the air pump, I hate that, right? That makes me uncomfortable because I want to meet in the middle where it's public. So show up on time. Number two, have money pre-counted. Got to have your money pre-counted. You don't want to meet there and they're like, all right, so I owe you $210. And you reach in your wallet and you take out a couple $100. You're like, oh, shit, I don't have change for a 20. Do you happen to have change for a 20? No, I don't. All right, well, here, just give me a sec. Let me run inside. All right, here it is. Here's your money, right? That we don't want to have that. You want to have the money pre-counted. I carry around a bunch of hundreds, and then I carry around sometimes a couple 50s, but I almost always have a bunch of 20s on me, some 10s and 5s, so I can make exact change. I have the money pre-counted, so I'll show you guys what I do. Money's pre-counted, so let's say it's $215, right? You guys see? We got some 10s and 5s, and then we got the hundreds. So if it's $215, I will count it on the way there. I take it, I slide it in like this, and then when I go to meet up with them and everything's done and it's time for the money, I don't even take out my wallet. I just reach in my pocket, I can feel this, and then I take it out. So it's very smooth. And then I say, all right, and this is how I do it with the money, right? So after everything's done, we've reset the phone, we did the bill of sale, everything's good. I say, okay, and I say, all right, and I owe you $215, right? Okay, and I owe you $215, right? I always use a tie-down question and get them to agree on the price. That way there's no discrepancy. No, you said $225. Well, did I? Let's look at the message, and then we'll look at the message. And there's been a time, I think it was only once, where I did mess up the price. And I was like, and I told them it was $10 more. Said, oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. And then I gave them the money and I reached in my wallet and took out another 10. But like 99% of the time, they're like, yep, that's right, $215. Reach in the wallet. All right, sounds good. 1, 2, 2, 10, 215, and there you go. If you want to go ahead and count that and check that if you would. Right, and then I hand it to them. So that part of the transaction is very smooth. It's very smooth. Everything about the meetup and step number 2 is about being very smooth. And all these little things matter because when you show up on time, they see you as a professional. When you have the exact money counted and you have it pre-counted already, it's smooth. Number 2, have charging cord. Anyone here ever met up with a prospect? Let me know in the chat. Give me a 1 in the chat if anyone here has ever met up with a prospect and the phone was dead and the phone wasn't charged. Sam Superman says, number 1. Tom says, of course. Michael says 1. David says 1. Ryan says 1. So number 2, or the fourth part of number 2 is, or the third part is have charging cord. That's right. And power boxes too. So in my car, I have a charging cord. I actually got a big box of them now. But in the beginning, I carried a charging cord for Apple. a charging cord for both the Androids, and I got a charging cord for Apple Watches. I believe I've had to use all those, and I know I've had to use the Apple ones and the Androids and the Apple Watches multiple times. Especially, I think the Apple Watch needs to be at like 20, some high percent before it powers on. So when you meet them and they're like, oh crap, my phone's dead, you could say, oh, yeah, damn, you don't have a phone charger? All right. Well, let me go ahead and just stand on my car in front of the gas station and yell out loud and see if someone has a phone charger. No one does? Why don't you follow me and we'll drive 10 minutes down the street to Apple and we'll go see if we can charge it. No, none of that. You have a charging cord plus the, all right, Sam said the box, so we'll call it the box. Power boxes plus the box, right? The professional phone flipper says, no worries. I got a cord right here. Let's go ahead and plug it in. And you plug it in, you charge it, and it's moving in 2 seconds. The next thing is have bill of sale and pen. I've seen some people, and they're like, I want to meet up with the prospect, realized they didn't have the bill of sale, so I ran home. I had the customer wait there. Someone said this once. I had the customer wait there. They ran home, or they ran to some printing place. They printed off the bill of sale, and then they came all the way back, right? What is the customer doing now? The customer's like, this guy doesn't have their act together. I mean, imagine going to a restaurant, and you ask for the receipt, and the person's like, oh, actually, we're out of receipt paper. I'm sorry. Well, I kind of need the receipt. Well, no worries. Let me run down to Office Depot real quick, grab some receipt paper. I know you're done eating. I know you have other shit to do, but why don't you just sit on your butt here for 15 minutes? Why go and grab some receipt paper? You're going to like that restaurant or you're not. It's the same thing. They're judging you. Have your stuff together. The other thing I recommend doing is have Wi-Fi on your phone. It's great to have a hotspot. Okay, you guys know I'm not good with the terminology stuff. Have hotspot. Hotspot on your phone. I recommend everyone here get a hotspot on your phone. You call your company carrier. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes it's 10, 15, 20. Just get the hotspot on your phone. I had a guy it was like last week. I posted the convo, I think in Next Level. I think you guys saw that. And the guy was like, I just got to get the Wi-Fi before I reset the phone and then we can meet up. And I said, well, no worries. That sounds good. I actually have Wi-Fi on me. Sometimes I don't call it a hotspot because I don't know if people know what hotspot means. I got a hotspot on me. I got Wi-Fi on me, so we could actually use that to meet up. And he was like, oh, okay, sounds good. Let's go ahead and meet up right now. And we met up at Schnucks, and we did the deal. And I think I bought that phone. I think I made $150 plus in profit on that deal. Sometimes you'll go to meet up with someone, and they have an iPhone, and there's no service on there, and they got iCloud on there. So you want to be able to connect it to the hotspot right away. So it's smooth. You guys see all these things we're doing. Show up on time. Have money pre-counted. Have charging cord and box. Have bill of sale and pen. Have hotspot on your phone. All these things make you look like a professional. All these things make you look like a professional. So imagine that we're going to go meet up with, who are we meeting up with today? We're going to go meet up with Darren, okay? We're going to go meet up with Darren. Darren's got good negotiating skills. He's leading us through the conversation. Darren shows up on time. Darren has the money pre-counted. My phone's dead, but no worries. Darren has a charging cord in the box, and he plugs my phones in right away. He's got the bill of sale and pen ready to go. And because I don't have signal on the phone anymore because I switched carriers, Darren has hotspot. He connects it to Wi-Fi, and he instantly resets my phone. Darren instantly resets my phone for me. If the phone flipper does all 5 of these things, what do you guys think the customer's perception of you is? This guy kind of doesn't have his shit together. What's the person doing? Or this person's got their act together. This person knows what they're doing. This person's a professional. You're dealing with someone that knows what they're doing and they have their act together. They might not even, they probably won't even consciously think all this, but when you're prepared and you do all these things, they get the general sense that this person's about their business. I mean, they got their stuff together. Okay? They know what they're doing. Just like when I walk into a restaurant and someone greets me right away, they seat me. In 60 seconds, the hostess comes out and they take my order. They bring the food out in 15 minutes. They check up on me a couple times and they do. I kind of get the sense that this restaurant has their stuff together. when I walk into the restaurant and they don't get greeted for 1 or 2 minutes. And then when I get greeted, they are understaffed and it takes the server 5 minutes to get to me. And they're understaffed in the back, so it takes 25 minutes for the food to come out. And, oh, they actually got the order wrong. I asked for them to substitute this with this, and they didn't. You know, am I going to go back to that restaurant? Fuck no, I'm not going back to that restaurant. There's no way. There's other restaurants to go to, and there's other phone flippers they can deal with. But when you do all these three, when you do these things, guys, you're a professional. You're a professional. You got your stuff together. So step number two, so that's step number 2. Cool. Well, no worries. That's why we're on these group chats. We're learning. Step number 3 is I recommend, and what I do is I do all the work for the customer. So what's that mean? Sometimes the customer wants a factory reset their phone. If they don't, sometimes they just hand it to you, and they're like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to think. So I do all the work for the customer. Don't let the customer think. So customer, let's look at all these things. The customer needs to reset their phone, right? I make sure the hotspot's on, and I take their phone if they're comfortable with it, or if not, then I'll have them do it in their hand, but I will connect it to the hotspot. Or I'll say, no worries, I have hotspot, right? And some people know what that is, so they'll go to the Wi-Fi, and they're like, which one is it? I'm like, it's the one that says Aaron, and it's just 8 ones. My hotspot password, guys, if you're ever around me, it says Aaron, and it's 11111111. That's what it is. So I make it easy for them to get on the hotspot. I don't have the hotspot complicated. Well, it's my hotspot password? Let me go ahead and put it in for you. It's a capital A and a lowercase z and a number 1 and a $sign, and then it's an Egyptian hieroglyphic. None of that crap. We're going to keep everything real simple. So I do all the work for the customer. I don't let them think. So I connect to hotspot. A lot of times they don't know how to factory reset their phone. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They don't know it's in the about, it's in the settings. And then so what I will do is I will connect it to my hotspot, and then I will go to the place where they remove the iCloud. So it's connected. It says enter their iCloud info, and then I hand it to them. So once I get it to the point where I need their password, then it says, all right, I'm going to go ahead and have you put your password in here for me. Now, you get a feel for it. Some people know how to do this, right? But some people don't, and they want you to do it. So I reset everything for them. For the bill of sale, I do everything for the bills. All right, great. You have your driver's license on you? Yes, they give me the driver's license. I fill out everything. Then I flip the paper around, and I say I'm going to get a initial here, and I point. You know the spot where it says initial? I'm going to get an initial here, and they initial it. And then I go to the next step, and I'm going to get an autograph here. I use the word autograph. Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling, says if you ask for a signature, Mom and Dad said never sign anything without reading the fine print. I don't want them thinking that way, even though I'm not doing anything shady. I don't want them to think, so I use the word autograph. I say I'm going to get an autograph from you here. You guys say, if you say I'm going to get a signature, that makes it sound kind of official. Shit, you're putting you're signing something. I want to alleviate all that. I say I'm going to get an autograph from you. That's the phrase, the terminology that I use every single time. So I reset the phone. I do the bill of sale. And then I count the money in front of them. And then I hand them the money to double check. Why do I hand them the money to double check? Because I want them to feel like they're in control, even though I'm kind of in control. So, because sometimes you guys know what they'll do. Sometimes they count it again. Sometimes they're like, nope, no worries. Some people don't even count it, which is crazy to me. They'll just put it in the pocket. I'm like, damn, I just handed you, I did a deal the other, it was like $1,360. And the guy I handed him the wad of money, and he puts it in his pocket. I'm like, I'd always count it. But sometimes they want to count it. Sometimes they want to hold it up to the light and make sure that they can see the lines on the $100 bills, right? But it's like I'm not moving after I give them the money. I stay there for a sec to make sure they count the money, to make sure they're comfortable with the money, to make sure they can verify the money's real. It is real, but I let them verify it is real. And then once everything's done and they're comfortable, then we exit. And that's how I do it. So these are the three things. This is step number 3. And this is very important. I don't want the customer to think. When I go to the car dealership, imagine I walk into the car dealership and the car salesman's like, yeah, which car do you want? And I'm like, shit, I want the Camaro, baby. Haven't you seen my Facebook statuses? And the car salesman's like, oh, I haven't seen the Facebook statuses, but all right. So this is what you're going to do, Aaron. You're going to go in the back. You're going to ask for Deborah. Tell Deborah you want to test drive the Camaro. She'll hand you the keys. And then you just go ahead and walk out to the Camaro, pull it around front. I'll hop in and we'll go for a test drive. And I'm like, well, you know, you're supposed to do the work for me. You're supposed to kind of serve me. You know, I'm the customer. But I do it, and then we test drive, and the customer and the car salesman's like, so what do you think? And I'm like, I kind of like it. And the guy's like, all right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have you sit down on this computer. I'm going to have you run a credit app. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you call all of these banks and see what rate we can give you. And then once you've done all that and you've got all the paperwork, go ahead and bring it to me. I'm like, are we going to go to that car dealership or are we not going to go to that car dealership? Probably not going to go to that car dealership. Let's see what you guys see. We're not going to go to that car dealership. I don't want the customer to think. Guys, people don't want to think. People are lazy. People want to go the path of least resistance. I mean, I get people that, you know, they'll buy a program and they won't go through the program because the program requires them to think, even though the program has all the secrets they need to make a lot of money. We guys, because we're professional phone flippers, we're going to do the thinking for them. We're going to take charge. Then what we're going to do is after everything is done, we're going to say, it was great. I never say great. I'm like, I give them the money, everything checks out, and I'm like, sounds good. By the way, I actually buy phones and electronics for a living. Ooh, guys, this is powerful. Let me share this with you. And I try to buy 5 to 10 items a day. Do you happen to have anything else for sale? So now that everything's done, they're comfortable with us, now it's time for us to push our will onto the customer. Push your will onto them. Your will is you want to buy more stuff from them so you can make more money. Sounds good. By the way, I actually buy phones and electronics for a living, and I try to buy 5 to 8, 10 items a day. We will break this down because this verbiage is very important. I actually buy phones and electronics for a living. Guys, they responded to your ad, or you did the reach out method. Just because they responded to your ad, that doesn't mean that you're buying phones all the time. You might just be trying to buy a couple phones for anything. They don't know you buy phones for a living. They don't know this is what you do in your career. So we have to tell them. We must tell them. You guys understand how powerful this is? You have to verbalize and communicate with them after you've gotten the transaction and you've been a professional and you did everything and they're happy. This is the time where we bring up, we buy phones and electronics for a living. You have to tell them. They saw your ad, so they get the vibe that you're kind of buying phones, but they don't understand it fully. We must verbalize and communicate it with them. Give me a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, yep, absolutely, David. Either, anything like that's fine. All right. It's very, very, very important. You have to tell them. If you just leave there and you're like, all right, well, you got your money, have a good day, no wonder you're not fucking getting any repeat business, right? You haven't told the prospect that you buy phones and electronics for a living. Now, let me ask you guys this, and I try to buy 5 to 10 items a day. What's this do? This verbiage is very important because it's painting the right picture in the customer's mind. I try to buy 5 to 10 items a day. What does this do for the customer? Oh, very good. So there's this guy. I met up with him. He had one iPhone Max. And I did the deal with him, and everything was good. And then I did everything, and I said, hey, by the way, I actually buy phones and electronics for a living, and I try to buy 5 to 10 items a day. Do you happen to have anything else for sale? And he was like, no, I don't. And I was like, no worries. Do you get phones often? He's like, not really. I just kind of come across them. And then I said, well, no worries. No worries. I buy phones for a living and buy them as is and try to buy as many as I can. So if you happen to come across anything else, let me know, and I'm happy to meet up with you again and give you cash. He said, all right, sounds good. It was like a few days later, he hit me up, and guess what? He had another phone. A few days later, he hit me up, he had another phone. About a week later, he hit me up, he had 6 phones. 6 phones. I made like $250 to $300 in profit per phone. So I made like $1,500 in fucking profit on that third deal. You got to let them know you buy in bulk. Some of these guys, we know what they're doing, right? They're financing phones or doing whatever, and they get phones all the time. And sometimes they're afraid to say they get lots of phones or they get phones in bulk because they're afraid you're going to judge them or feel like they're doing something shady, even though they're not, right? You know, they're going to go fuck up their credit or whatever they're doing. That's none of my business. But if they're going to go do that, you know, I don't care, right? I'm obviously not going to go prepay for it or anything, but they're going to mess up their shit. But when you tell them this, what's this imply? If you get a bunch of phones, I'm happy to buy them from you. I try to buy a bunch. This is very, very powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. This line right here, guys, gets me a ton of repeat business. And it's not necessarily 5 to 10 phones, but sometimes it's their phone, and then their cousin's phone, and then they got their tablet at the house. And then sometimes it is where they're bringing me 4 Maxes in a week, and we do a deal. So you're letting them know if they got 4 Maxes or 4 brand new phones, you don't care about that, right? Because we don't. We're just buying it as cash. We don't care about that. We're happy to buy it as is. Do you happen to have anything else for sale? Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes I say no. If they say no, I push it. So I always say, no worries, you get phones often. And then if they say no, then I do a third time. So I always do 3 times before I exit. I'm not going to hit them 1,000 times, but I want to make a strong point that I buy these for a living to really ingrain it in their brain that I'm serious about buying phones. If they get anything else, let me know. No worries, I buy phones for a living, and I buy them as is and try to buy as many as I can. If you happen to come across anything else, let me know. I'm happy to meet up with you again and give you cash. This is very strong. This is strong because you get people like this, and then you'll get people like I had this lady, she hit me up, and she sold me a couple phones like a year ago, and then she switched companies, and then she just switched companies again, and we met up, and she sold me like 3 phones, an Apple Watch, and a tablet. They were AT&T, all clean IMEI, and I made like, $700-800 in profit, something along those lines from that. So when you do these things, so step number 4 is let them know you buy lots of items. And I recommend doing these. 1, that's step 1. 2, step 2. 3, step 3. So you're really making a point. You're really letting them know that you buy items. Sam says, what if they bring you iCloud lock phones? Well, they're not going to get pissed off me if they bring me iCloud lock. First of all, Sam, I would say not to worry about it. I would say never worry about anything unless it happens. There's a saying that like 94% of anything we worry about doesn't happen, so I wouldn't worry about it. It'd be the same thing if they bring me an iPhone 4. I would say, well, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I actually can't take those. But do you have anything else? Right? It's the same thing. So if they bring me an iCloud lock one, I will say the same thing because I do not buy iCloud lock phones. Used to, but I don't anymore. So I would say the same thing. They're not going to get mad at you because you're going to use soft phrases and you're going to apologize and you're going to be empathetic. But do you have anything else? Do you have anything a little bit newer? Do you have anything that might not have an iCloud lock on it? Give them examples at the point. Laptop, tablets, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's one more step, okay? Step number 5, send a message. Who's over here calling me about this shit? Is send a message. After a few hours, either when I get home or I think about it later that day, I send them this message. Thanks again for the phone, Tom. So today, Tom sold me a phone. Thanks again for the phone, Tom. It's perfect. If you get anything else, let me know. I'd love to do more business. This is some powerful shit right here. What does sending this message do? Let's look at what we did so far. Really good negotiating. We had our act together. We did all these things. We did all the work for the customer. We're a complete fucking professional. We let them know we buy lots of items, and we said it once, twice, and 3 times. Weren't too needy with it, but we did push the frame on it. And then a couple hours goes by, and we send them this message. What's this do to the customer? If you're the customer, what's this doing to you? No one? This is another reminder to them. So let me ask you this. Has anyone here ever met up with someone, or maybe you had a friend and they said they were going to do something and they didn't do it? They're like, yeah, no worries, I want to go to the gym with you. I'll hit you up in a few hours and we'll go to the gym. And then you hit them up and they're passed out, eating pizza, watching Netflix. You're like, damn, this person really wasn't as serious as they thought they were. A lot of people will say stuff in the moment, but they're not actually that serious about it. Okay? Some of us do it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch Next Level's videos. I'm going to put up a bunch of ads. And you go home and turn on Netflix and order pizza. Aaron knows. I know what you guys are doing even when you don't think I know. I know. Okay? I am there. That's how this works. So, after you've done all that, and they're like, this person sounds serious, and a couple hours goes by, and you send them this message, thanks again for the phone, Tom. It's perfect. If you get anything else, let me know. I'd love to do more business. I also like to say the phone's perfect because, I don't run the IMEIs. So, well, I do if it's like, AT&T and it's slightly blah, blah, blah. But if it's like Sprint or T-Mobile, I don't run it. So if the IMEI, some people, they'll be like, the phones got disconnected because they didn't pay the bill. And they know that, so they think they're getting one over on me. But if I send them a message, thanks again for the phone, Tom, it's perfect, Tom might be thinking, oh, well, he bought it as is, right? He didn't care that he couldn't make calls on it. He's buying it for parts or buying it to sell on eBay is bad IMEI. He doesn't know that stuff. So I always like to say it's perfect. Thanks again for the phone, Tom. It's perfect. If you get anything else, let me know. I'd love to do more business. It, A, shows that you're happy with the phone. B, lets them know that you're serious about what you said earlier, but you're not pushing it. I never say, by the way, did you happen to see if you have anything else at the house for sale? That's like too much. Too much. We don't have to do that. You're just letting them know the phone's perfect. You are serious about meeting up with them. And the final thing it does is it puts another reminder in their head that, all right, you're in their thoughts again. You got their attention. And attention's like the most important thing, right? So you said it when you met up with them, you sent them the thank you text, and you leave it like that. Some people won't hit you up. Some people will. When you do this, though, you follow these 5 steps, it's like real rock solid. I mean, you're a professional. You're doing everything right. And you're letting them know that you do want to do more business. You're serious about doing more business, and you're a professional through and through. It's rock solid. Absolutely, Tom. It's rock solid. So that's the 5 steps for getting repeat business. What do you guys think about that? It took me a while to put all those things together because I would do this, and then I would do this, and then I discover this, and then I do this. It took me a while to put those 5 steps together. But, guys, you follow these 5 steps, try it out. Try it out for a few months. Follow these 5 steps. See if your repeat business doesn't shoot through the roof. No other phone flipper in your area is doing this, by the way. They're not. Their negotiating sucks. They're not even responding to the leads. They're meeting up with them. They're not doing this, right? You lock these people down. You lock these people down, and you start to build. It's like you build more and more business. I got to the point, it was in the beginning of the year. Something happened after I'd been doing this for about a year and a half, where like I just started getting a ton of repeat business. Old people started hitting me up. And I'll be honest, guys, sometimes I have days now where I go pick up multiple phones from repeat business. I will have days where I pick up like 5 to 10 phones just from repeat business, because new people that I met like a week ago are calling me with phones. People from a couple months ago I haven't heard from. Somebody will hit me up from a year ago. A year ago. They remember me from a year ago and they hit me up. That's why I believe you can do $1,000 a day in profit. I believe you can do $365,000 a year in profit phone flipping. As long as you're not going to do it right away. I don't think you're going to do it in 1 or 2 years. But if you did this for like 5 years or so, and you did these things and you hit it hard, you keep building this referral base, and it gets bigger and bigger as you're getting more leads. I think it would be impossible, by the way, not to do that much, just because I've seen it. I mean, I have people that hit me up, and it's just crazy. I got this one guy. He's a seasonal guy. So around Christmas, he hits me up. And he gives a bunch of items for a couple months. He'll bring me some tablets. He'll bring me some phones. Maybe I'd buy 20 phones or 30 phones from him over the course of 3 months, and then he disappears. Now he goes on vacation. I don't know what he does, right? But you'll get in all these different experiences and all these different situations where you're just getting repeat. It's crazy. That month I did $104,000 in sales. $25,000 of that was profit. Over $10,000 of profit was from repeat business. Over $10,000 of that, of the fucking profit, $10,000 in profit from that was repeat business. This has a snowball effect. It's fucking powerful. Most people will never see it, though, because they're not as consistent as they should be. They're not as consistent as they should be. They'll do the phone thing for a few months. They'll try the Shopify thing for a few months. They'll do the real estate thing for a few months. They'll do the consulting thing for a few months. And they're a jack of all trades or a master of none. They never buckle down and master anything. I love all those businesses, by the way. You can make great money in all those businesses. Find one fucking business, stick with it, master it. Don't be jumping around from thing to thing, because years will go by and you will have made like no fucking money. Okay, you stick with one thing, you master it. That's how this fucking works. So that's what I got for you guys. It was great hanging out with you guys. I know you guys are serious because it's 4th of July and you guys are hanging out with me, wanting to learn, because you guys know better information you get, better actions you take, better results you get. So I'm impressed for you guys showing up on here. And if you're watching the replay, you guys know I'm impressed as well, because you're still taking time out of your day to go through this. So keep moving forward. I have faith in you guys. Everyone fucking here can make at least $100,000 a year in profit in this business. I like guarantee it. No phone flipper out there is doing the things they're supposed to do. There's no fucking competition. You say, Aaron, look at all the ads in my area. Fuck all those people. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not. You'll see it. You'll see people that put up ads and then they go away, right? Anyone here see a new person come up on Marketplace and it pisses you off? And then 2 months later, they're nowhere to be found. No one here has got good negotiating. No one here is doing all this stuff. Stay with this. Stay with the training. Keep moving forward. Be consistent with it. There's no competition out there, and it's easier than ever to make money. When I bought David's program, we had Craigslist. That was it. We just had Craigslist. Now we got Craigslist, Facebook groups, Facebook stores, OfferUp, Letgo, 5 Miles, Marketplace, paid ads. We got a gazillion things. There's never been a time in the history of the universe where people have been making as much money as they're making now phone flipping. And I'm not saying that to toot your horn and make you feel good, because I don't lie. I say it as is. If you scroll back long enough, when I bought David's program, I asked him who was the top phone flipper in this program. He goes, well, I said, which guy's making the most money? He goes, well, Aaron, it's actually a girl. She made $13,000. Okay? The top phone flipper did $13,000 in sales. We get people that cross that shit all the time. There's people in here that have done 15, 20, 30,000. Chris Kripe is in next level, did 30. He's actually in VIP too. Doesn't have a car. He did $30,000 a month in sales. Okay? So it's not that I'm saying it to you. It's a fucking fact. Everyone here can do this. Everyone here can make great money working part-time hours, but it's up to you to stay the course. Put in the work, put up the ads, respond to the leads. When you get discouraged and a customer doesn't close or a customer doesn't flip or they flake, bone the fuck up and do the things you need to do to keep moving forward to make this business work. So that's what I got for you guys. You guys have a fantastic day. It was great seeing you guys and seeing you guys on this group chat. In this group chat, well, I'll post a replay and I'll post all the notes under the replay as well, so you guys have quick access to it, so you can look at the information anytime you need to, and you don't have to watch the hour group chat to get it. Great seeing you guys as always. Appreciate all the nice things you guys are saying in the group chat. I believe in you guys. Now go out